can only ever be where you are right now.
Boarded your podcast. It's the major investment in your life, right?
The journey will always be your journey.
Alexis P, welcome, my man. How are you?
Thank you. How you doing today?
I'm great, man. It's Sunday morning here, and this is super impromptu because you're in New York right now.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday. It's like 6:30. Saturday, 6:30 p.m. And I just woke up like maybe 2 hours ago. I was editing the podcast from yesterday, and I get this message coming in. Hey, man, want to sit down and podcast? Absolutely. Hell yeah, let's go.
Word. Yeah. It's you see, that's a problem is just people don't have enough patience. And lack of patience is just lack of perspective. You know, they don't have a foot in reality. They're just guided by the desire to get by the desire to fill their needs as opposed to express themselves, you know. And 10-year plan requires an expression. It requires you to put in the work, to build yourself up slowly, and to stop thinking about short term, which is a bad habit that people have. You know, we're all being told instant gratification, instant that, instant this. And what gets it is a lack of understanding what you want. You see a hot girl and you think that's what you want. You see a girl with 2 girlfriends and you think that's what you want. But in reality, why didn't you think of it? Just because he has it now and you see it now, you want it? You know, if you really wanted it, you would have wanted it before you saw it. You know, you know, and it's kind of like he was very aware of what he wanted. And so he was like, all right, I want 2 girlfriends and I want them to know about each other. And somehow he did it because he was very specific. Oh, he got fucking lucky, you know. But the thing is that a lot of guys, they think they want something, but in reality, they just don't want it. It's really envy. They just want what other people want, you know, and they just want to get good at pickup, at club game. Even though club game is not for you, you somehow struggle with waking up in the morning. You just want it. Why? Because you're just looking at other people, you know. You got to find out what you want in your lifestyle and be very specific, and not just specific, but also envision how you feel. How do you want people to react to you? How do you want people to respect you? Don't just look at the girls wanting you. Look at how they feel. You know, feel that they have an anxiety to want to see you. How do they react to you not being there? You know, and that's a part that people don't really look into because they just want superficial things. I want the girl. Okay, how do you want to get the girl? How do you want her to respect you? How fast do you want her to respond to you? What will you and will not accept from her? Those are things not specific because, again, they're just looking at surface level. What I want is I envision myself having a life when I'm 40 where they're the ones that are coming to me. I'm not putting any effort. And you know what? This cannot happen if you have a 2-year goal. This only happens when you build something of value. People will want to come to you, and it takes time. You know, so when you give yourself a 10-year plan, you have more space to maneuver. Your thinking is more dimensional. It's more rooted in reality. There's more patience. Impatience is the biggest cause of failure. So you already eliminate the biggest cause of failure. And the beauty is that you rely on other people's lack of patience. While everyone is focusing on this, shouldn't be focused on you on the right route. There's not a lot of competition there. You know, that's my advantage is the perspective. I know what you may have more experience than me, but I'm starting out fresh and new, and you started out with bad habits because maybe you wanted to draw fast. And now you started sketching Dragon Ball Z. On the other hand, I'm sketching how to draw a freaking line. I'm learning how to draw a circle. And my improvement may not seem as fast as yours because you're just drawing big so you can put it on Instagram, right? No. My improvement is real. I'm creating roots rather than a flower doesn't come out before the root is created, man. You know, and so people they're not looking in nature to see how things really work. Shit first grows inside and then outside. It's just how it is. And that inside means not getting that girl today. It means being alone. It means reconstructing yourself and realizing you have a long way to go and doing it. The biggest cause of failure, dude, is just people don't want to put in the time, man. If you want to succeed, man, just have patience, have it go, and give yourself 10 years. You could do so much in 10 years. It's almost guaranteed success, dude. Just think about that. Like, just give yourself 10 years on something, and you're gonna be good. You just are. You give yourself 10 years to be a loser, you're gonna be a real good loser in 10 years. You know, so it's yeah, man.
That's a powerful point, man. That's a powerful point. And when you said that, it reminded me of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Have you read Total Recall?
Oh,
Is
yeah,
that
that's
the
I think that's the first biography I read. Yeah,
Yeah, that's inspirational
yeah.
shit. And what's inspirational about it is not getting to see all of his wins, because we know about his wins. We know about the Governator. We know about the Terminator. But what was so fascinating about that book, and there's those books where, like this one, where you can't wait to get back to this. You can't wait to pick it up again. That's the same as Total Recall for me, because I was unenlightened like most people about Arnold's life. I mean, back when I was a young teenager, when I first got into the gym, it was because of the movie Pumping Iron, and so, but that didn't show any of his
How old are
upbringing as
you?
a kid.
How do you?
25.
Oh, cool.
So
Cool.
when I was like 16, and I remember me and my boy Roy and my brother Lou, we would sit there in the gaming room and we'll watch Pumping Iron, and that would show, that showed Arnold when he was killing it. There was no storytelling of when he was a little boy in Austria, or it didn't tell him about how he's fucking up in the military and all these different things, right? And from one challenge to the next, Total Recall, it gives you such appreciation for the 10-year mindset and for this unwavering will, just to, no matter how many things go wrong, how many people tell him he can't do this, you can't do that, just get it done. And that he wasn't a magician, that these people that we consider to be highly, highly successful, and you mentioned it before, that were endowed, or the perception from society is that no, these highly successful people, they were always born with that quality. They were always going to be successful. It's just that, however it manifests. But actually, when you look at their stories, it was a combination of will, determination, and patience. Not some magical innate endowment that you or I don't have. And that's, we're talking about books. It's one of the biggest things I got from books or reading biographies. It's like, reveal it. It just lifts the veil.
Yep.
Lifts the veil on people.
Yeah, it makes it more attainable, man. Like, dude, again, like the reason why people don't want to think about 10 years or 5 years is because of the subtle fear of their own mortality. Like I froze, right? I froze.
No,
I
no, no,
froze?
no. No, no.
Okay.
You froze my mind.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
didn't freeze that, because what you just said was so good. Where I just hold up. The subtle fear. What was it again? Say it
Of
again.
your own mortality, of death. You know.
The subtle fear of your own mortality. That's fucking
Yeah.
beautiful, man.
It
That froze
manifests.
my mind.
Yeah, dude, it manifests himself in different ways. Like it manifests himself in Halloween, where you make a joke out of it because you don't want to see the reality. Everyone makes a joke out of death, but they don't. They're not really close to death. It's all being veiled. It's you putting makeup on. Let me charge my laptop. One second, okay?
D's just grabbing his charger, but I just want to, for you guys now, I don't want to cut this point, because what happened there was that because of Skype, sometimes if we notice the person's head doesn't move for a second, it's almost looking like it's frozen. But when he said the subtle fear of mortality, I froze myself, because that was something powerful. I've never heard it phrased that way, because it's very true.
I'm here. Yo.
You're good? Oh, he's back. He's
Yeah.
back.
It's because you see the society we live in, we're all afraid of death. So you can't really show dead people. You can't. The people who saw public executions, they had a real sense of time. They had a visceral connection to time and their own mortality. That when you're exposed to death in a consistent way, something in you changes, but another part in you comes closer to reality. And suddenly you see time as weightless. You know what's going to happen to you. So now you're able to think long term because you know it's inevitable. Now, anyways, I got to gather my thoughts on that. But the point is that 10 years, you know that when 10 years you're going to be older, you're going to be 30 or 40. Like 10 years means the changing of a number, of the front number. And when you're 20, you're afraid of 30. When you're 30, you're afraid of 40. When you're 40, you're afraid of 50, right? So 10 years represents that. And people don't want to think about that because that means that they're getting older. So you repress that. So that's why people would rather think of tomorrow or a few weeks or a few months, but 10 years, I'm going to be old. How am I going to enjoy that? No, Picasso was 50 and he was getting laid like a motherfucker, man.
Yes, sir.
And Picasso, dude, but just think about this part, man. I'm just telling you what I find fascinating is that a lot of people, when they look at Da Vinci when he was 19 years old and he's like, fuck, he was 19, he was already creating masterpieces. Nigga, yeah, he was 19, but let's measure age differently. Let's measure experience. When he was 19, he had almost already 10 years of experience of painting and drawing. Of course he's gonna do that. It's not like he's just a 19-year-old. So when he was 30 and when he started working on becoming an engineer, he had 20 plus years of painting and drawing and observing nature. Of course,
It's a long fucking time.
Yeah, a long fucking time, you know. So you could do, and then he was 30 and then 40, and he just started stacking, and it carries momentum. That's the thing, is that it has momentum. Where it's like this, oh, you're learning, and then something, it's just how it is. And when you look at the end result, it looks impossible. But when you live that life and you experience every second, it's not impossible for you. You believe it. And then when you actually read the biography, it's like walls are coming down in your head. You're like, holy shit, this makes sense. Would I have done that? Will I have done that? That's a big part when I was reading Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography. I kept asking myself, what would I have done right there? What would I have done that right there? Fuck, I'm in the military right now. What would I have done? Will I have kept working out, or will I just accept that? You know, like I just asked myself, and I'm like, where would I have gone if I was him? You know, and it's just
Great questions,
dude. It's like you're not successful because of you. You know, it's all about you. And we can't accept that because it's not me, because he's gifted. That's why. It's not me. He's gifted. No, it's you.
No,
it's you, man. It's you. It's just everyone was a baby. Da Vinci at one point there was one point when I was better than Da Vinci at drawing. There was one point. Right now I'm starting to draw, but there was one point. Maybe he was second day of drawing or third day.
Yeah.
There was one point when I was better than him at drawing, and so it's kind of like, all right. Let me just think about it as that perspective. When he was 9, he started drawing. Let me just think I'm 9 right now, right? And dude, it's like it's limitless, the potential that you have when you think about it that way.
It's such a great mindset. It's such a great mindset. And even when you were saying like, what decision would I have made if I was in Arnold's position right there? That's something that I do as well. You know, I'm very heavy into particularly Asian philosophy, and specifically with samurai, well, actually, just in general, warrior class. Warrior classes in many different backgrounds. So not just samurai, although samurai in particular, but you know, even just looking at Spartan mentality, New Zealand Maori mentality. You know, the warriors from down there. Just in general, the warrior classes of human society and how they thought and how they acted and how they did different. Like last weekend, you know, the movie 300.
Yeah.
One of the greatest movies of all time. I've seen it like 20 times. And me and my brother and one of his mates were watching it, and we decided to put it on. And the reason why I wanted to watch it is because I just got an inkling that night. I'm like, yeah, I want to get fucking inspired by a warrior class. Let me watch this right here. Even though I've seen it 20 times. And that's when you know that there's something quite deeply entrenched in our psyches about that life. Because I know what's going to happen, yet I still get thunder waves and thunder shock waves of electricity through my body when I see the first time they're at the hot gates. And they're getting ready to take the first the first onslaught of just these Persian warriors just coming at them. And there's just like, even though there's 300 of them, the front line is only 15, 20 side by side, and then they're backed up by 15 rows behind them. And just putting yourself in that mindset of, I trust the man next to me, the man on my left, we each protect the man to my left. Mentality like that, like even just something as subtle as that, when Leonidas is describing to the, I forgot his name, but the shriveled up, deformed guy that can't quite make it. Yeah. And he's saying, listen, each Spartan protects the man to his left. And I read into that shit. And then you see the visual of them taking that first onslaught is that, because it's so real, it's so visceral, especially in the way that the movie was shot, that they really let you marinate on what it's like to receive this horde of soldiers that are running at you with utmost intensity, and you just got to protect the guy to your left.
Wow.
And to have that trust, and to have that steel of nerve. And it's like, when I see that, and the reason why I've gone onto this whole tangent is because of, similar to the way that you're like, what decision would I have made? What type of person would I have been in that situation? And I remember the first few times I watched it, and I probably would have bitched out. I remember because I first saw it when I was like 17, 16,
Yeah.
and that shit scared me. I was like, when I thought about that, what would I really have done? And I really mean, like, for all of you listening as well, really put yourself, go watch that scene. If you don't have the movie, just go on YouTube, you can find it, the Hot Gates battle, and try and actually feel what it would be like to be in that front row, to be in the front row and have those people running towards you, trying to kill you, and there's hundreds and thousands of them, or at least in that moment, several thousand. How would you have been? How do you feel like your nerves would have played? Would you have steeled yourself? Would you have been the type of man that could stand there next to you, and the guy on your right? Would you have been the type of man or the type of woman that the person on your right would trust you? And then you extrapolate that out to life. Does the man on your right trust you?
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw a massive similarity in the way that you described how you put yourself into those situations with Arnold, into how I use that. So I get that from anime. I get that from the warrior classes, samurai, all of these things. I feel like it's a great way of learning, at least for myself anyway.
No, of course, dude. You get, it's like a weird way of downloading information. You could sense it. You could really sense. It's like an outside perspective. You can sense it. Your body reacts to it. It's like virtual reality. You know, you could really sense it, and there's information in there that is transferred to you. That's all pre-verbal. It's all unconscious. You know,
Yeah.
and the more you admire that, the more you think about it, the more you feel it. Your brain literally is getting in contact with a new way of thinking. It's like it's being upgraded. You know. And that's why when you think of that becomes part of your self-image, you know, it's a slow process. You got to keep admiring it so that your brain your brain could assimilate it and stuff like that. And you don't see it instantly. You just notice you're more resilient. You know, you think about that. You want to read more about it and you learn more from them, you know. And that's the thing, is that you have to admire. You see, it's all about admiring them so that you can learn. That's the only way you can learn from them, when you admire it, because you can think about them more. You know, but that's how it is, though, man. I noticed that a lot in your videos. I hear a lot about like and I'm like, all right, that's a warrior right there. You know, and
Yeah,
it's
subtle.
It's unique. Yeah, it's what makes everyone unique. Their curiosity, and you follow those curiosities, and it leaks out in your material. You know, and the more you find out the things you like, the more unique you become, and the more unique your channel becomes, and everything, because you're not trying to be unique, you're trying to be yourself, and everyone is unique. You know. Something else, mastery. He says that whenever you see a master displaying his art, what you've seen is somebody who's able to completely express themselves. They're not doing something. The better someone is, the more expressive they are. When you're playing basketball and you suck at it and you can't shoot, you can't do the move you want to do because you haven't put in the time. But when you're really good at it, it's like a fingertip feel. You're fully expressing, you know exactly what you want to do, and you could do it. You know, so with artists and everything, they want to be able to draw the Mona Lisa. No. Maybe that's not your expression. Don't try to think about what you want to create. Think about the reaction in you. Think about the reaction in people, and let whatever that is to create that. You know, you don't know what that is. You just gotta focus on what kind of reaction you want to get. How do you want to feel? How do you want people to feel? And just follow that. Use that emotion as your map, and things will unfold. You know,
it's the mastery and self-expression. What you said there, I can't think of anything more truthful. When you're looking at a master, it is true self-expression. Not trying to be anyone else, not trying to emanate anyone else. It's just been the process of 10, 20, 30, 40 years of doing this thing day in and day out, and this is where they're at. So of course they have no preconceived notions of, well, this is how it should be done. No, because I know how it should be done. And in my coaching, when I have guys on boot camps, right, in my system of teaching guys through 3 overall mindsets: direct, congruent, authentic. That's the 3 principles that I live my life by. That's the mindsets they need to keep in mind. But in terms of tactics, right, it's very much structure. I give them scaffolding because I don't need them to regurgitate. I don't want them to regurgitate.
Yeah.
I don't give them lines to say to girls. I give them structure to insert their own self-expression. Because in a similar way to yourself, you will not gain mastery in any area of the temple. And the way that I view life through this temple, specifically when it comes to social, romantic, being in front of a girl that you like, she's blowing your mind. If you don't have mastery of your self-expression, yeah, good luck conveying those high-level mindsets, direct, congruent, authentic. Why? Because you are trying to emanate something outside of yourself. But if you embody those and allow them to manifest in whatever way, so you learn from Vinci, I'm learning from Musashi, you're learning from these different people, all right? And it's not like we try to necessarily be a 100% copy of them. But you take that mindset, you take that feeling, that fervor for life, and then you allow that to manifest in however that's going to come out in your brainchild.
Yeah, and you can't. And the thing is, you can't dictate how that comes out. You know. And the thing again, look, the big part is when people try. It's like artists. He doesn't artist a lot. I'm not an artist, but I'm working on it. But they try to be someone. You know, and the problem is that it's like a child. You first got to learn to walk. You first got to learn how to talk before you have a personality. Before people see your personality, you got to develop into that. And Mastery talks a lot about that. Is that when you try to cheat the process, people could tell. They could tell because it sounds like noise. It sounds like what everyone does. Every dating coach sounds the same. People be like, "You're trying to be cool." Let me show you this, right? This is me trying to be cool, right? This is not real art. This is just me trying to create something that's to look cool, you know. And so
for those listening, he's just pulled a poster down of one of his off the wall.
Yeah, and
one of his drawings.
If I'm trying to create art, what's going to happen is that sure, you'll get superficial praise, but it doesn't connect with people deeply, emotionally. You know, when you create something that's of value, it creates an emotional connection. When you work on yourself fully and you grow in value, you will cause emotional connections. When you watch an amazing basketball player, you are in awe. And that's what keeps you coming back to it. When you read a book and it connects at the core, that's because that artist was able to fully express himself because he had such a strong grasp of the fundamental. He was able to go inside and what's inside and put it out effortlessly. That's the key, effortlessly, right? Because the only struggle is learning the fundamentals. The expression, when you learn how to draw, it feels like you've always drawn. You're like, oh, well, I didn't know I'm good. No, you got to look at your old paintings and you see how good you got. You see what I'm saying? It's very hard. So it's kind of like to them, it just comes out. And when you see somebody faking something, you can see the effort. You can see the thinking. There's thinking involved. There's no fluidity. But when somebody is themselves and just expressing themselves, they created themselves through deliberate practice, not through shortcuts. There's not a lot of thinking. There's not a lot of friction. And it connects with you emotionally, man. Like when you're trying to learn a skill, you're trying to get at the depth of reality. You're not trying to create something. You're trying to give people a glimpse of reality. That's why when you watch an amazing painting or a good movie, you can't forget that. Why? It's because they got in touch with something that's real and they put it out there and it connected with you because it's already in you. You know, like it's if it doesn't create an emotional connection, you're still not there. And the thing is, you can't force it. You can't force being there. You just can't. You know, I can't create beautiful art. But if I give myself 20 years, it's impossible for me not to create beautiful art. It's it. Da Vinci, you could just say Da Vinci draw something. It's a masterpiece because it's just himself. He's just expressing himself. He took the years.
He's just doing him, yeah.
See what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah, I love it.
What happened?
No, I got a question. for you.
All right, that's it, people. So if you guys enjoyed this, just click on the link below if you guys want to keep watching, and subscribe to his channel. He has an excellent grasp on spirituality and dating, so you guys will really enjoy. All right, so I'll see you guys later.